Hello, welcome everyone to episode 4 of Fortune and Blessings. I have been using the terminology Garcia to refer to the Punic Senate. This has been a mistake, as Garcia was the name of the voting body of the Spartans, not of Carthage. Last time, we discussed the aftermath of the Great Battle of Cannae. Rome would reject all offers of surrender, and Hannibal is then forced to send his brother Mago to Carthage, asking for more men and money. The Punic Senate decides to send Mago not to Italy, but to Spain, to assist his other brother Hasdrubal, as the Romans were now putting more men and money into that region. Let us start with this question in mind. Would you rather go to war with a stranger or your own brother? This is the dilemma for both of the families of Scipio and Barca. Fortune is a cruel and beautiful mistress. Under old orders from the Senate, Hasdrubal prepared to launch an escape from Spain to join with Hannibal. Rumors spread like wildfire of the Barcid leaving. Gnaeus Scipio sent for his younger brother and met to discuss these new revelations. They feared the joining of these two men in Italy, that Rome would surely be sacked and burned to the ground. Maybe even plowed with salt, so no one could live there again. Gnaeus, the elder brother, decides that they will attack and place under siege the Carthaginian allied town of Iberra on the south side of the Ebro River. This river in the northeast of Spain was the original line set up by Hamilcar's son-in-law Hasdrubal the Fair and the Roman embassy.
You shall not pass!
To divide the areas of influence after the last Great War. The people of Iberra was horrified by the sudden Roman assault, as they were simply not prepared. In response to this bold action, Hasdrubal made the decision to place under siege the Roman allied town of Detersa on the opposite side of the Ebro. The Roman control of this area depended solely on their ability to defend their allied towns. So being obligated by treaty, the Scipios abandoned the siege of Iberra and went to confront the Barcid. With near equal numbers of troops on both sides, a battle quickly entailed. Following his brother's strategy for Cannae, Hasdrubal was going to duplicate this grand achievement, but with elephants. However good he thought he was, though, Gnaeus was just more of a veteran with many more years under his belt. Just ask the poor Gallic tribes who was crushed, killed, and buried in northern Italy under his legion's feet. The plan failed, with most of Hasdrubal's Spanish allies killed in the center line. But it did allow for Hasdrubal and his veteran army to retreat in order. After the Detersa, Hasdrubal used his immense wealth due to his control over the rich silver mines to, let's say, influence the Legates, a tribe who were loosely allied to Rome, into revolt. This tribe, due west to Roman lands of Spain, would halt all Roman plans to knock out Hasdrubal for several years. During this time, new challenges brought instability to the tribes of Numidia in Africa. King Syphax of the powerful western branch of Numidians, ruling a majority of modern-day Algeria, once an ally of Carthage, now switched alliance with the Romans. And he received several military advisors, also known as centurions, who helped train his people in infantry tactics. Nearly at the same time, King Gaia, of the smaller eastern branch of the Numidians, was forced to ally with Carthage, and was quickly invaded by Syphax. Not too much is known about this war, and I wouldn't bring it up too much if it wasn't for his son, Massinissa, who was raised in Carthage and was placed in command of all Carthaginian and Numidian forces in Africa to defeat this now enemy king Syphax. He utterly routed this western king, leading to further promotion from Carthage. He, a Numidian prince, would be given command of all cavalry in Spain. He would travel with Mago Barca and Hasdrubal Gisco to Spain to solidify Punic, not just Barcid, family control. Hasdrubal Gisco had no relation to the Barcids. There were not many Carthaginians with second names, so I will refer to him as Gisco from now on. The Punic Senate was coming to place the state over the influence of the Barcid family in Spain. The Scipios, after defeating the Elegates and taking hostages and tributes from several other tribes, finally felt confident enough to launch a joint land and sea invasion through the Ebro and on to Saguntum, then to the capital, Carthago Nova. The Roman speed to quickly occupy the land of their enemy made some in Spain question their love or fear of Carthage. Back in the town of Saguntum, where the war started years ago, General Bolstar of Carthage was approached by one of the most influential men of status in Spain. Think Elon Musk. This man, Abelix, has proven himself second to none as a loyal ally of Carthage. But the times, they were changing. Fortune is always a mistress of kindness and treachery. Abelix convinced Bolstar that if the hostages that Hannibal had placed in the town under his personal command were just released back with no demands, the parents, who were the leaders and chiefs of the various Spanish tribes, would love the Carthaginians even more freely. He spun this web of lies and then tied it to Bolstar's eyes. He really thought that this would save Carthage, and better still, secure him gold and respect from both Hasdrubal and the Senate at Carthage. But remember, children, fortune, she giveth and then taketh away. Abelix was given in the middle of the night control of these most valuable hostages. He quietly led these young boys and girls as a silent plague, creeping unheard of in the depth of night. Then, at a prearranged meeting spot and time, Abelix was handing these children over to the Romans, serving under Gnaeus Scipio. This was his way to gain favor with the Romans, who he believed would be the final winner of the war. The Romans made promises of friendship and gold. Then, with Gnaeus' blessing, according to the goddess, he sent them back to the parents, using Spanish mercenaries hired by Abelix. Hasdrubal received word from Bolstar of his decision. He had this foolish general crucified. His screams became a reminder that this war was serious. Failure was always treated harshly in Carthage, but the Barcid family was known for their leniency and kindness. Everyone took the hint, including Gnaeus and Publius, who decided that Hasdrubal needed to be dealt with sooner rather than later. A decisive victory in Spain was needed more than ever. Back at the fort, guarded by the combined legions, the brothers Scipio decided the next plan of action. Publius argued for an immediate assault on Hasdrubal and his camp, then would move on to the other army commanded by Mago and Gisco. You know the old saying, cut off the head of the snake plan. Well, I guess to them it was more of a new idea. Gnaeus at first agreed, but later a Centurion reminded them that when Hasdrubal is defeated and killed, it will only lead the other army to hide up in the mountains, and it may take years to force their defeat, and would deal major losses to their own forces. So Nias came up with a new plan, a bold plan, one that only blessed by fortune could pull off. Caesar would definitely love this plan. Nias would take 1/3 of the Roman combined legion and 20,000 Spanish mercenaries to confront and kill Hasdrubal near the southeast of Spain. While at the exact same time, and this was risky now, Publius would take the remaining legions and track down and kill Mago and Gisco several days' march in the interior. Syphax was also ordered to bring men from Numidia. However, Massinissa, son of King Gaia, crushed this western king again. He would then finally take up his position as commander of the cavalry and quickly headed for Spain to join up with Mago. Deep in the Spanish forest, layers of brightly colored leaves cover the earth. The trees may be thinner here, but there are so many that you feel like you're in another world. Publius Scipio, a veteran from early in the war against Hannibal, was marching to confront that bastard's brother. The air was still, and every footstep was heard throughout the forest. Then shouts are heard, far, far off in the distance. Publius can hear, "Hurry up, men! Unleash the javelins!" Then, what can only be described as a thunderstorm of hooves and cracks of lightning running through the forest. The great host of the Numidian cavalry, under King Gaia's son Massinissa, has found the Roman legion unprepared in the woods. Publius quickly ordered the famous Susudo formation, a formation similar to the Greek phalanx. Volleys of Numidian javelins came raining down on them. As soon as they were launched, the riders would disappear back into the crowd of what was regarded as the best cavalry of its time. They managed to hold off serious losses for hours as the Numidians fired off thousands of arrows and javelins. When Massinissa and his men ran out of supplies, they back into the tree line, almost like ghosts from a dream.
We gotta get out of here!
Make it near impossible to commence a chase after them. Publius knew that he had it in a bad way. And had to make camp quickly and well fortified. Mago and Gisco was still a day's march away, and now his scouts picked up another army of Spanish mercenaries under Carthage approaching. The Romans felt the fear that grips most men when chaos and misfortune surrounds them. It was nighttime now, with the Carthaginian army in their front, hopefully ignorant of their presence. A cavalry army of the best quality somewhere out there, and another army on the way. He made his plans and put his faith in his men. They would abandon the protection of the fort and march upon the incoming Spanish mercenary force, and pray that the gods of fortune truly favors the bold. They quietly left after eating and were in hot pursuit of the more relaxed Spanish tribesmen, who were not expecting battle until at least the morning. With screams and shields bashing, the Spanish tribesmen was alerted, but the Romans had achieved their surprise attack. The Spanish chieftain got his footing after a while and would keep his men fortitude. This held up until morning, when Massinissa found Publius and hit the Romans in the rear. This caused the great famous Roman discipline to crack. But Publius knew victory was still only a slim chance now, but if his men's courage could hold, fortune would always benefit them. Then trumpets could be heard in the distance. Hope began to build in the ranks. Maybe Maybe a Roman army was nearby and was now coming to save them. But that hope was quickly dashed away when he realized that the army coming was that of Mago and Gisco. Publius was already doomed.
Shit just got real.
The Romans was swept away like a tsunami wave. The ex-consul, who fought Hannibal and survived, was cut down by his own brother Mago, alongside thousands of his men. The Battle of Castilla was a disaster for Rome. Only the day prior, Gnaeus Scipio had nearly surrounded Hannibal. This was not good for the Barcid. He fell back into a well-fortified town nearby. While there, Gnaeus sent word out to his brother, inquiring about when he could arrive. A few days went by, and no word from Publius. Gnaeus was starting to get a little worried and had a bad feeling, but he was sure it was only a delay. Fortune had always been on his side, so the same thing must be true for his young brother. Reports came in to the Roman camp with the terrible news of the death of Publius Scipio and the arrival of the other Carthaginian army led by Mago and Gisco. He would mutter, "Seems like we're in a bad way." Understanding the situation now very well, he left his attack on Hannibal and raced north, back to more safe territory, north of the Ebro. However as brave a Roman legion was, they were still men with limits. Fighting all day against the enemy in a full rearguard retreat, the Roman spirit started to fall into tatters. The Numidians constantly rained upon them javelins and arrows, forcing them to fight in the shade. Seeing no other options for the day, the Romans gathered on a nearby hilltop and started preparing for the nightly fort. While still surrounded by Massinissa and the Numidians, this was the moment when Gnaeus realized that fortune was not just kind, but also cruel. The hilltop chosen by chance had few trees to be used, and to make it worse, the ground was full of rocky outposts, so digging mounds for defense was out of the question. In a desperate action, while under fire, they used their shields and baggage to make a wall of sorts and prepared for the night. Soon after, General Mago, General Gisco, and General Hannibal arrived with Massinissa and surrounded the sad-looking defensive ring. Hannibal laughed, a great laugh, at this great Roman general who has caused him so much trouble the years. Now reduced to this little feeble plan. The order was quickly given to overrun the position. It was truly over in a fleeting moment. Gnaeus and most of his soldiers were left behind dead at the Battle of Alorca. The victory brought Roman ambitions to a halt in Spain. A makeshift legion of the surviving men from both battles made it safely north of the Ebro and prepared for defense. Gisco would march north to put an end to the Roman presence in Spain. But a new leader emerged from the ranks of the Romans and rallied the men to victory, forcing the status quo from before the Romans crossed the Ebro. This is how the two brothers Scipio, in dual battles, gave their lives. It was a tragic experience for all and benefited almost no one. Next time, we will see the young Scipio, son of Publius, arrive and wrap up the situation in Spain when we have round 2, Scipio versus Barcids.
Did I stutter?